All right, let's talk about one of the wildest stories to come out of Allentown recently. You've got racial tensions and alleged hate crime, the entire community up in arms. And then, plot twist, it was all fake. This isn't just some minor misunderstanding. This was a full-blown, headline-grabbing scandal that had people protesting in the streets, demanding justice, and pointing fingers. And yet, when the dust settled, the truth was nowhere near what was originally reported. It all started when a black employee claimed they were the victim of a brutal, racially motivated attack. The story spread like wildfire on social media. Within hours, posts were popping up all over Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. People were sharing shocking claims about how this student had been harassed, beaten, and left traumatized, allegedly at the hands of a group of white students. And of course, the outrage was immediate. People were furious. Community leaders, activists, and even some politicians weighed in. Hashtags started trending, demanding action. The school administration faced intense pressure to respond. There were protests outside the school, students walked out of class in solidarity, and the media ran with the story as another tragic example of racial violence in America. This is the part of the story where emotions take over. People weren't just upset, they were ready to see consequences. Civil rights organizations started getting involved. Local news stations interviewed others within the community who shared how they never felt safe and how this incident was proof of deep-seated racism in the community. It was all set to be a huge scandal until the cops stepped in. See, when something like this happens, an actual investigation follows. And this is where things started to get interesting. Law enforcement did what they always do. They started collecting facts. They reviewed surveillance footage. They interviewed everyone, and even the alleged victim. They went through every detail of the supposed incident, looking for concrete proof. And as more details came to light, the original story started falling apart. First, the surveillance footage didn't show any attack. There was no brawl, no ambush, nothing. Those who were supposedly present during the attack had vastly different versions of events, or outright denied anything ever happened. Then came the biggest bombshell of them all. The alleged victim admitted to making the whole thing up. Not only was there no hate crime, but there wasn't even a fight. No altercation, no threats, nothing. It was completely fabricated. This is where things got awkward. Remember all those activists, community leaders, and social media warriors who were calling for expulsions and arrests? Well, now they had a decision to make. Some deleted their posts quietly, hoping no one would notice. Others doubled down, insisting that even if this incident wasn't real, it represents a larger issue. And then there were those who just ignored it. The media, which had spent days covering the outrage, barely gave the truth a fraction of that attention. And the police? Let's just say they weren't thrilled about spending hours investigating something that never happened. Wasting law enforcement resources like this isn't just frustrating, it's a real problem. While officers were chasing down leads on a fake hate crime, actual crimes needed their attention elsewhere. So why would someone fake a hate crime? The answer is pretty clear, actually. Being seen as a victim can bring social status, support, and even financial gain. Social media thrives on outrage, and a viral story can lead to thousands of shares, messages of solidarity, and even donations. Some people take advantage of this, fabricating incidents to gain sympathy and recognition or push narratives, influence policies, and pressure institutions into action. Though some hoaxes are personal, done for revenge, to avoid consequences, or simply to stir drama, but regardless of motive, fake hate crimes hurt real victims. Every exposed hoax makes people more skeptical, wastes police resources, and fuels division. It's like crying wolf, but in this case, the wolf is racial tension, and the damage goes far beyond one false report. This isn't the first time something like this has happened, and it won't be the last. High-profile race hoaxes have played out in the public eye before. Jussie Smollett. His case was a textbook example of how quickly a false narrative can spread and how slow people are to accept the truth once it's revealed. The problem is that once a hoax is exposed, it doesn't go viral in the same way the original accusation did. When the initial story breaks, it's everywhere, News headlines, viral tweets, passionate debates on social media. People are outraged, calling for justice, demanding action. But when the truth comes out, crickets. By the time the hoax is exposed, the public has already moved on, leaving the false accusation as the dominant narrative in many people's minds. And that's dangerous. The media plays a massive role in this. Sensational stories bring in clicks, views, and engagement, and nothing fuels engagement like anger and outrage. The more emotionally charged a story is, the more likely it is to spread like wildfire. That's why news outlets are quick to run with these claims before verifying the facts. They don't want to be late to the conversation. But responsible journalism isn't about feeding outrage. It's about getting the facts right. The problem is, once they've published a misleading or incomplete story, they rarely put the same effort into correcting it when the truth comes out. Social media makes this even worse. Platforms like Twitter and TikTok operate on instant reactions, not careful analysis. People see a shocking post, react emotionally, and hit share without questioning it. The more people spread it, the more real it seems. But when the truth emerges days or weeks later, it rarely gets the same attention. Instead, people either ignore it or justify their initial outrage by saying, well, even if this case wasn't real, it still represents a bigger issue. This is why waiting for facts is so important. If you jump on every viral story before all the details are out, you're setting yourself up to be misled. The truth is often slower than the lie, but in the end, it matters more. So what's the takeaway here? Simply put, don't believe everything you see online. In today's world, where information spreads in seconds, it's easy to get caught up in outrage before the facts come out. But as we've seen, jumping to conclusions can lead to embarrassment, wasted resources, and even deeper divisions in society. When people fake hate crimes, they don't just damage their own credibility. They harm real victims by making the public more skeptical of genuine cases. The media also plays a role in this, often rushing to report on emotionally charged stories without verifying the details, only to go silent when the truth comes out. If journalists want to maintain public trust, they need to prioritize accuracy over clicks. This entire situation started with outrage and ended with embarrassment. But the real question is, will people learn from it? Should there be harsher consequences for those who fabricate hate crimes? Should the media be held accountable for rushing to judgment? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And as always, stay skeptical, stay informed, and don't get played by the outrage machine. Also, be sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into stories like this. And I'll see you in the next one.